Trump rally we ever went to in 2017 when he came to Topeka, Kansas, and did a rally for Chris Kobach. Throw him in there. Piece of shit.
Say goodbye to your former supporters, Donald. Donald Trump's former MAGA supporters are making videos of themselves and posting it across social media where they're burning their MAGA hats, their MAGA shirts, and their MAGA signs. And they are saying how betrayed they feel by Donald Trump's actions, putting America last, covering up for a child sex trafficking ring, and by lying and saying that things are far more affordable right now and that everybody's living in a golden age while Donald Trump grifts for himself and makes billions of dollars while he makes the American people suffer. We're not just seeing one or two videos. We are seeing right now a mass movement of former MAGA supporters taking to social media and telling Donald Trump they're done, that they are leaving MAGA. Here's another portion of that video, and you'll see just how angry Donald Trump's former supporters are at his betrayal, at his con job, at his rug pull. And as they burn their MAGA hats and shirts, they start cursing at him. And we're seeing this across social media right now. Play this clip.
Son from 2016.
Fuck you!
You sure as fuck are making America proud right now. And for the record, we stand with MTG and Massey.
We're also seeing former MAGA supporters replace their MAGA hats with America First hats and showing solidarity with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey. As we know, Donald Trump is saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a traitor to the MAGA movement because she's called for the release of the Epstein files. She said that these files should not be covered up, and she says that Donald Trump is not telling the truth when he says things are more affordable right now. For Donald Trump, he said that that was far too much for him to handle, that she would say those things. By the way, what she's saying there is true. And so Donald Trump has banished Marjorie Taylor Greene from the MAGA movement. And she's posted that as a result of Donald Trump's attacks on her, that she's received death threats, that her life has been put in jeopardy by Donald Trump's conduct.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and notification bell, because today's story is a wild one. Trust me. Now, you do not want to miss this. Now, let's dive into something that is shaking the political internet like a washing machine on its last leg. Yeah. So, picture this. The same people who once treated their red MAGA hats like some sort of sacred relics, displaying them proudly at rallies, polishing them like trophies, and defending them louder than their own families, are now setting them on fire. Yeah, you heard it right. We've entered an era where MAGA supporters are literally lighting up their own merchandise in protest. And the big question that's echoing across America is Donald Trump finally losing control of his MAGA base?
I think President Trump is having a very public meltdown. Fox News just put up a TikTok that has President Trump in the Rose Garden blasting music from his iPhone. And he's playing Elton John and George Michael, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Now, everything is propaganda. Fox News doesn't put out a TikTok without deeply considering its meaning. The whole world knows that Trump is under increasing pressure. Republicans are abandoning him. There are these embarrassing Bubba emails that everybody's talking about. And you have Pete Ducey standing in front of the White House, and you hear the echoes of the words, "I can't light no more of your darkness." And Pete Ducey tries to be sympathetic and says, "This was my father's favorite song. and I kind of like make a connection. And then you hear these lines, losing everything is just like the sun going down on me. All propaganda tries to stop you from thinking and instead work on emotions. And this piece of propaganda paints Trump as someone exhausted, someone who's been carrying a burden, someone who is being unfairly torn down by other people. The music invites you to feel for him before you think about the facts.
If it sounds like here at the White House, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me by Elton John and George Michael is blasting over a speaker in the Rose Garden and then over here onto the north side, that's because Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me is blasting out of a speaker over in the Rose Garden, over here onto the north lawn. As we understand it, in talking to some folks in the West Wing, President Trump today is having some fun. He's got his phone out and his playlist pulled up, and the music is playing. It's one of my dad's favorite songs.
Did Donald Trump really think we forgot about Melania? Well, let me explain. Right now, Donald Trump is in a state of panic that we have never seen before. With Epstein destroying his presidency, he is swinging for the fences to try to save himself, and the fences, they're swinging back in the form of Republican members of Congress calling him out, members of the media abandoning him, his party base completely turning on him, and Donald Trump is trying to do anything to attack those who will not back him, including Thomas Massie, whose deceased wife, Donald Trump mocked last night in his Truth Social meltdown. But Donald Trump should keep in mind that there is a lot to mock of him and his relationship, which is exactly what's happening because of new Epstein evidence. Melania Trump is humiliating Donald. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into how Melania has humiliated Donald Trump with this new Epstein evidence out, I want to start with where Donald Trump did last night in his Truth Social tirade with Thomas Massie and what he had to say about the Epstein files.
These documents in FBI possession, your possession, detail at least 20 men, including Mr. Jess Staley, CEO of Barclays Bank, who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked victims to. That list also includes at least 19 other individuals, one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada.
There is so much more to this story. This is what we learn every single day, that there is always going to be more to this story. Even Donald Trump admitted it. It was only a few months ago where Pam Bondi said, case closed, move on, don't look at Epstein, don't think about Epstein, don't talk about Epstein, we've shut it down. And yesterday, Donald Trump announces that he wants her to investigate Bill Clinton and Larry Summers and Reid Hoffman, and sure, anyone with ties to Epstein, especially Trump, should be investigated, but that's him admitting that they didn't do their due diligence and that there is more meat on that bone, that the lie that Kash Patel said, that Jeffrey Epstein was acting completely independent of other associates, this wasn't a cabal, it was just him, was obviously not true. There are so many people involved. There are so many people that Donald Trump is covering for, and there is so much of Donald Trump's past that he wants to cover, including his relationship with Melania and the criminal relationship. Well, we are going to get into it all, but I think, again, we have to continue with Thomas Massie. He has been poking and prodding at Trump, but the relationship before Epstein wasn't that bad, and of course it actually involved his deceased wife. And Donald Trump's post about it has only shown how desperate he is. I want to hear what Massie said about Trump calling him after his wife passed, and read this post before we see how Melania gets involved.
So Trump, when my wife passed away last summer, he had left a very nice message I would have obviously taken his call, but I was inundated with calls, but he left a really nice message of condolences.
Trump wrote on Truth Social, did Thomas Massie, sometimes referred to as Rand Paul Jr. because of the fact that he always votes against the Republican Party, get married already? Boy, that was quick. No wonder the polls have him at less than 8% chance of winning the election. Anyway, have a great life, Thomas, and question mark? His wife will soon find out that she's stuck with a loser. Now, why Donald Trump is feigning shock at Thomas Massie getting remarried is, again, because a year ago, his wife passed away. And as we saw in that clip, it meant something to Thomas Massie that Donald Trump called him, that he wished him well, that he reached out and been an instance of care that we have never seen by Donald Trump for anyone else but himself seemed to care. But Donald Trump doesn't care. Donald Trump has never cared. Donald Trump will never care. I don't understand how these guys in MAGA can rationalize.
Donald Trump just had an absolute meltdown on live TV after a reporter asked him a question about the files. Now, this was tonight while Donald Trump was boarding Air Force One, and he decided to stop and talk to reporters, and of course, questions about the files would come up, and this was Trump's response.
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of...
Yeah, you can hear Donald Trump's brain malfunctioning as he repeated the line, fake news like you, fake news like you. And for a guy that doesn't want to talk about it, he was eager to talk about it when suggesting that the DOJ investigate others. Now, this comes right on the heels as the survivors released an extremely powerful video asking for the release of the files. And at this point, there is no valid reason for any politician to dig in and not have the files released. To do so would be at your own peril politically. And Donald Trump seems to dig in as his approval rating is about to plummet.
Well, things just continue to go very, very badly for the orange criminal buffoon. He is absolutely losing it over on Truth Social right now because, of course, he doesn't actually do any real work. He spends most of his time watching Fox News and rage posting on Truth Social, which is what he's been doing this morning. And I want to get to a couple of his posts here in a minute. But as evidence of the fact that things are just not going well for this guy, you're starting to see a lot of articles being published about how Donald Trump is losing his grip on MAGA, how he was a lame duck. There was a good piece, I believe it was in the Atlantic the other day, about Donald Trump being a really, really lame duck. And I came across another article here. This one is in Newsweek. It's a headline, Trump is losing his grip on MAGA. I want to read a few excerpts from this article, and then I want to get to those insane posts that the orange buffoon is posting over there on his low-rent social media platform. So let me read a little of this first. 10 months into his second term, President Donald Trump is being challenged by the very base he prides himself on creating. And he finds himself besieged by an army of issues that could threaten his MAGA support and spell trouble for lawmakers who remain by his side. Reeling over the farmer furor that has met his plan to import Argentine beef, and now from Democratic victories in last week's off-cycle elections, Trump is facing friendly fire over perceived pivots on immigration, the state of the economy, and the latest episode in the long-running Epstein saga that has dogged his second administration's every step. Now, those are just some of the things that are going badly for Trump that is causing him to melt down. Those No King protests, I think, really triggered him, to use a phrase. Also, we are just having poll after poll showing how just historically unpopular this guy is. The latest AP poll just came out yesterday, shows him at 36% approval.
Say goodbye to your former supporters, Donald. Donald Trump's former MAGA supporters are making videos of themselves and posting it across social media where they're burning their MAGA hats, their MAGA shirts, and their MAGA signs. And they are saying how betrayed they feel by Donald Trump's actions, putting America last, covering up for a child sex trafficking ring, and by lying and saying that things are far more affordable right now and that everybody's living in a golden age while Donald Trump grifts for himself and makes billions of dollars while he makes the American people suffer. We're not just seeing one or two videos. We are seeing right now a mass movement of former MAGA supporters taking to social media and telling Donald Trump they're done, that they are leaving MAGA. Here's another portion of that video and you'll see just how angry Donald Trump's former supporters are at his betrayal, at his con job, at his rug pull. And as they burn their MAGA hats and shirts, they start cursing at him. And we're seeing this across social media right now. Play this clip.
Son from 2016. Fuck you!
Sure as fuck are making America proud right now. And for the record, we stand with MTG and Massey.
We're also seeing former MAGA supporters replace their MAGA hats with America First hats and showing solidarity with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey. As we know, Donald Trump is saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a traitor to the MAGA movement because she's called for the release of the Epstein files. She said that these files should not be covered up, and she says that Donald Trump is not telling the truth when he says things are more affordable right now. For Donald Trump, he said that that was far too much for him to handle, that she would say those things. By the way, what she's saying there is true. And so Donald Trump has banished Marjorie Taylor Greene from the MAGA movement. And she's posted that as a result of Donald Trump's attacks on her, that she's received death threats, that her life has been put in jeopardy by Donald Trump's conduct, how security firms are reaching out to her to offer protection. Marjorie Taylor Greene's daughter sent a heartfelt public message to her mom saying that she stands with her mom in the face of these death threats and all the horrible things happening now as a result of Donald Trump's conduct. And while all of that is taking place, where's Donald? He's showing that betrayal and rubbing it in the face of his former supporters. He was in Mar-a-Lago yesterday and today on the taxpayer dime once again, golfing, and he spent his time golfing with Lindsey Graham, who most people who were formerly MAGA, who no longer.
So let's break this down because the meltdown is both dramatic and fascinating. Over the past weeks, countless videos has flooded social media showing hardcore MAGA supporters gathering in backyards, parking lots, and even on the steps of their local Republican Party offices to burn their hats. And these aren't trolling clips or satire. These are real supporters delivering emotional speeches, screaming into the camera, crying betrayal, and calling Trump everything from weak to out of touch. So, what caused this sudden eruption? What triggered this bonfire of red hats? Well, it seems to be a cocktail of disappointment. No surprises there. The economy is dragging. The promised America First rival is nowhere in sight. And Trump's recent political decisions have frustrated many who believed he would bring the change they were desperate for. And where their expectations weren't met, the anger didn't just simmer. It exploded. So some supporters are furious about what they claim are broken promises. Others feel Trump has become disconnected from their struggles. Some are upset with the government shutdown fallout. And then there are those who feel Trump has been compromised. They're not fighting hard enough. In other words, they want the chaos, but only when it benefits them. You get that? Okay. And now, look, I'm not saying these hat burning ceremonies aren't dramatic. They absolutely are. One guy gave a 2-minute speech about how he trusted the hat more than he trusted his ex-wife. Another vowed never to vote again because he can't handle heartbreak twice. And someone even said, I'm freeing myself from the cult of red fabric. Honestly, Shakespeare couldn't write it better. But here's where things get truly interesting. The political implications. Okay. Now, when the base that carried you to power starts revolting, that's not a small crack. It's a foundational breaking. Now, Trump's entire political identity is built on loyalty, not policy, not innovation, not transformation, but loyalty. He demands it, he praises it, and he attacks anyone who doesn't give it. So, losing even a chunk of that loyalty is like a volcano rumbling before the eruption. So, is Trump losing control of the MAGA movement? These signs aren't good. For the first time, we're seeing MAGA supporters openly criticizing him, questioning his decisions, and most symbolically, destroying the very symbol that united them. The hat wasn't just clothes, it was the uniform. And when the uniform burns, the unity burns with it. But here's a twist. Even as some supporters walk away, many are doubling down, attacking those who burn their hearts and calling them traitors or fake patriots. Now, the movement is eating itself from the inside, and historically, when a political base fractures, the cracks rarely seal back together smoothly. Yeah. So, what happens next? Does Trump attempt damage control? Does he shrug it off and move on? Does he attack those who abandon him, like he has with so many others? Or does this become the beginning of a much larger collapse in the movement? One thing is certain, it's becoming harder and harder for Trump to pretend everything is unified and under control. He may still have millions of loyal supporters, yeah, but the energy, the fire that once powered the MAGA machine, that isn't burning as hot as before. And ironically, it's now being born in backyards all across America, literally. So, as we wrap up this wild story, one thing is clear. The MAGA movement is no longer the unstoppable political force it once was. Yeah? The fractures are visible, the frustrations is public, and the symbolism couldn't be more dramatic. And if Trump can't hold onto the loyalty of his own base, what does that mean for his future influence and for the future of American politics? So let's talk about it. Do you think Trump is actually losing control of his MAGA base? Are the heart burners representing a real shift, or are they just the loud minority? And most importantly, does this mark the beginning of the end of MAGA as we know it? Drop your thoughts on the comment section below, and I'll be reading everything and joining the conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more breakdowns like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Credit belongs to original creators.